Hey guys, this is module 7, but I'm going to release this early because I want to go over the final project guidelines and rubric. Now the key thing here is that except for one critical element, and that's the one at the very bottom, and I'll show you here in just a minute, you have completed all of the milestones that are combined into this final project. So what you really need to do is to go back and look at my comments, suggestions, and feedback to you, and then go in and incorporate those into your final project. And then you need to look at the final grading rubric to see what is required for you to get an exemplary rating for those specific critical elements. Remember that when you did your milestones, the highest rating you could get was proficient. Now the highest rating you can get is exemplary, but there are certain requirements in order for you to get the exemplary rating, and I will review some of those with you as we go through this rating rubric. All right, so again, you've done 98% of the work. And so now what we need to do is take a look at my feedback, comments, and suggestions, incorporate those into your final project. And then basically you have your final project is done. You copy, paste, and click your assignments together, so it's in one document, and then you massage it, you clean it up, you correct the grammatical errors, you polish up your reference page and make sure it follows APA style, and then you're all set. And then don't forget that there's that last little critical element that you have not addressed in the previous milestones that you'll need to address for this one. And I can't stress that enough, so don't forget to do that. Otherwise, it will impact your overall grade. Okay? So, you can go ahead and read through this. This is just an overview of the final project. And again, these are the prompts. So, you've already done your paper on communications and collaboration. You've done your paper on technology. And you've done your paper on ethics and professional practice. Some of you have done it as a PowerPoint presentation, and so this final project can be either submitted as a PowerPoint presentation or as a paper, and that's clearly outlined in the assignment guidelines. So I recommend you not switch from one to the other unless you really want to, because you've already done the work in one format or the other, all right? So this is, again, this is communication collaboration, which is milestone 1. Technology is milestone 2. And ethical and professional practice, which is what you just finished, is milestone 3. The one addition to your final project is this one here, which is item number 4, career revision. And then basically, based on your investigation of the 3 branches of criminal justice, describe how your findings solidified or changed your career aspirations. If you have opted to choose from a different career path entirely than criminal justice, then explain why. So whatever it is that you elect to do, or whatever career path you elect to follow, is what you're going to address here. All right, so do a good job here. Look at the grading rubric so you know how you're going to be evaluated on that specific response. So again, we've already done the milestones on communication, collaboration, technology, ethical and professional practice, and then career path investigation. So you've already done all of these. And so now we're going to look at the final grading rubric. So it outlines the guidelines for submission, so you have an idea as to what is expected from you. Your career path investigation essay should be 4 to 5 pages, double space, using 12-point times New Roman font. Or your presentation should be between 12 or 10 and 15 slides with speaker notes. The speaker notes are words that you would say if you were presenting the slides to an audience. So if you use speaker notes is where you fill in some of the gaps that are lacking from what's on your PowerPoint to what you would tell people. And usually PowerPoint presentations usually just have keywords and then you elaborate on those keywords. So please make sure that as you develop your final project, if you're using the PowerPoint feature, or you're gonna give the presentation that way, that you make sure you use your speaker notes and fill in the gaps. And for those of you who have been doing the slide presentation or the PowerPoint presentation, I've offered some suggestions to you regarding the speaker notes. All right. So here's the grading rubric. And again, the category that's been added here is exemplary. So you need to take a look at your specific paper or PowerPoint and then ask yourself whether or not you fulfilled the exemplary rating. In other words, oftentimes it's going to require that you include a relevant example, or that your response is exceptionally clear and contextualized, meaning well written. Okay, everything flows well. You explain the concept exceptionally well, and I have no issues with it. So here you can go back on this particular one. It's a pre-sentence investigation report and who does it. So you can go back, read your response, and then evaluate if you need to tweak it a little bit to make it flow a little bit nicer, make sure it's clear, and everything like that. Okay, so basically what you're building on is your proficient rating to the exemplary rating. In court cases, in order to get an exemplary rating, it says use industry-specific language to establish expertise. And basically, the easiest way to do that is to look at the court case and then pick out key phrases and terminology. For example, one of the cases that you guys had to deal with early on was Turner v. Savely, which had to do with basically institutional rules and regulations. And one of the key terms that Supreme Court stated was that institutional rules and regulations need to serve a legitimate government interest in order for the court to uphold that rule. So in the case of Turner v. Savely, it had to do with marriage and or issues associated with inmate mail, things like that. In order for an institution to have such a rule, then they have to demonstrate to the court that it serves a legitimate government interest. And so that's the kind of verbiage that you need to put in here when it talks about industry-specific language, and use it properly. You know, use probable cause in a proper context, Fourth Amendment in a proper context. So go back and take a look at your responses to those cases and make sure that if you wish to get the exemplary rating, that you do in fact use industry-specific language to establish expertise. And again, you're going to get that a lot of times from the court case itself. Okay, so try to incorporate some of those, and that's basically what that means. All right, so this is communication collaboration. You've talked about technology. Again, our court cases use specific language to establish expertise. So you're going to go back and look at the case that you selected and then try to pull out some key phrases and tie that into your response in order to get that exemplary rating. Again, in some of these, to get exemplary rating, it needs to be well supported with specific examples. Again, use examples to substantiate the technology described. So maybe in part of your research here, for example, you discover that institutions in your home state use a specific type of technology, then that's a good thing to add here. It just shows that you've gone the extra mile in using some examples, or you research some specific examples that you can apply here. So this is the technology section. And then again, remember, we just finished the ethical and professional practice section. So you can go back and look at that. And again, we're talking about uses industry-specific language to establish expertise. So reviewing the cases that you had for this particular assignment, we looked at one of the cases involved Herring, and that was issued. That was resulting with an arrest based on a faulty arrest warrant, and whether or not the evidence should have been admissible in court. This is clearly a case of good faith exception, so that's one of the key phrases that you could use. Also, look at what the court had to say about the case. This is obviously a Fourth Amendment issue, and in the court, in describing this, it held that a criminal defendant's Fourth Amendment rights were not violated when police mistakes that lead to unlawful searches are merely the result of isolated negligence and, quote, not systematic error or reckless disregard of constitutional requirements, end of quote. Meaning that accidents happen, mistakes occur. So that's a key phrase here that you might want to think about incorporating in here, because the courts understand that things are going to happen, mistakes are going to be made. But the thing about this case was that it was isolated negligence. If there's a pattern of a particular department not properly purging files or updating cases or removing warrants that are no longer valid, then the court might not uphold the same type of ruling on that particular case. Okay? So again, just using specific language from the industry. All right, and then this is where we finish up. So the last thing you have to do here again is that career aspirations. So you can go back and take a look at that. Again, that's item number 4 here. You find it, there it is, item number 4, career revision. So that's the thing that you have not addressed yet. Everything else you have addressed. So again, you're going to go back, you're going to clean up your submissions, you're going to make everything flow nice, you're going to add examples where they are required based on what it is for an exemplary rating, or demonstrate something else based on the assignment guidelines. And then you're going to polish it up, clean it up, and make sure everything flows real nice. All right. Make sure if you want, you can use the grading rubric as your outline. But if you basically put your milestone 1, followed by milestone 2, followed by a milestone 3 together, then everything should flow nice. I don't have a problem if you want to use headings. For example, if you want to just use communication and collaboration, and then A, B, C, D, and E, and then move on. Number 2, technology, A, B, C, D, and E. You know, I don't have a problem with that, because sometimes that's easier for you guys and for me, but it just makes sure that you don't forget to include everything. All right, so again, go back and look over the assignments and my feedback to you, because if you did not address one of these specific critical elements in your milestone 1, 2, or 3, then you need to make sure that you do that for your final project. Otherwise, you're not going to earn the points for it. Okay? So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and post this copy of our grading rubric and outline in, not the grading rubric, but the assignment guidelines and the grading rubric, so you have it. And I'll also include the highlighted areas so that you can make sure you include some of these. Again, make sure you follow the guideline submissions, whatever format you elect, whether it be an essay or a PowerPoint presentation. And then I've highlighted what's required for the rating of exemplary for each of these. Okay? So I think that's it. If you have any questions while you're working on this assignment, please don't hesitate to contact me. But again, you've done 98% of the work already. So now you just have to go in, polish, clean it up, and make a great presentation so you can earn as many points as possible for this assignment, okay? Because it's worth a significant number of points. And so I want you to earn, you know, all of those points. I want you to do a good job on this presentation, especially since you've already know what it involves and you've got my feedback, all right? So the final submission is worth 250 points, which is 25% of your total grade, so it's pretty hefty. So do a good job. If you have any questions at all, never hesitate to reach out to me. Thanks, guys, and have a wonderful week. Bye.